Welcome to pattern making class. I'm your college instructor, Annette Julie, production pattern maker and fashion designer to the industry. And today we are working on making a contour block for our front basic bodice. This is a full-scale block, and you're going to need to make a copy of it. Please watch one of my prior videos. And you need to grab your pattern making tools, some tape, curved ruler, pencil, pen, paper, scissor, and your little compass. So I have a compass here, and I have marked the length 2 3/4 inches. And here's my front bodice, which I have copied off. This is the basic one dart bodice. Here is my apex, which is the tip of the bust mound. Your dart that you would sew is backed off 1 inch, and the drill hole is backed off 1/2 inch again, where you would mark it for sewing and then sew past it. So here we have our compass, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a little bust mound circle here. And you can use an awl on one end, or you could use a pencil or a pen. So I'm going to go ahead and use my pencil right there, and I'm going to take my pen and put it in the other end of my compass, and I have punched holes through both ends of the compass so I can go around here and make a circle. And there we go. Handy little compass. Now we can totally see the bust mound. Here it is. And we're going to be working to draft contour lines so that we can use this for a deep cutout neckline contour, or an armhole contour, perhaps an umpire style line that would go across here. Also, you can contour a deep V in the back. You can contour between the bust mounds on both sides for a corset. Also strapless garments. So this is a really good draft to have. You can make it into a block on hard paper later. And we're working on our front contour bodice. So grab your ruler, and let's go ahead and draw some of the lines that we would use to contour. We're going to start up here in our neckline, and you're going to mark the middle of the neckline. So you can go ahead and measure it and come up with your measurement. And mine is 4.5 inches. So I'm going to mark that up 2 1/4. And so never pull your ruler so tight that it snaps. Just sort of rotate it around there. There's 2 1/4. And I'm going to mark that. And now that line I'm going to take all the way to the apex. Everything we're going to contour towards the bust mound and the apex. There's our first line. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark over here to the low point of the shoulder. And you're going to draw a line all the way to the apex. Okay, we've got 2 lines there so far. And with the line that we just drew to the neckline to the apex, and the one from the low point of the shoulder to the apex, we're going to make additional lines that go out as well for contouring. And they're going to be radiating, I said, all from the apex, and we're going to contour it along the bust mound radius. Okay, so here's our center front. We've drawn that line from the neckline to the apex. And now we're going to mark 1/4 inch along that bust radius Go ahead and mark 1/4. And now you're going to connect lines back to neckline. And down to apex. Okay, and that went this direction, and this is 1/4 inch. Okay, so this is our first one that we're doing. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the low point of the shoulder, and we're going to, along the bust radius line, come out 1/2 inch. And we're creating lines that we would use to contour on a future pattern. Now we're going to connect this from the low point of shoulder, high point. So we're going from low point down to that line that we went out 1/2 inch. So we went this direction, and we went 1/2 inch. And now you're going to connect that line back to the apex. So we have 2 contour lines so far. Now in the middle of the shoulder, we're going to measure our shoulder. My shoulder happens to be 5 inches. So you're going to go ahead and mark 2.5. Dividing this in half. And with this line, this is going to help you to come up with an area here that we're going to go ahead and contour, but it's not going to be all the way down. So I'm going to draw this in pencil because this is a guideline here, but I wouldn't contour this all the way down. So this is just a guideline. Just sort of made that dotted, and then here, once I've reached this point, I'm going to go out on both sides, 1/4 plus 1/4. 1/4 and 1/4. This would be very helpful if I was making a bustier or a corset, because we would take this circle and we were going to close and mold towards the body. So this is just the master pattern that we need to use to be able to manipulate, to contour for a bunch of different designs. Now we can take these lines down to the apex. So dotted line down to when we meet the bust radius. Then I went out 1/4 and 1/4. So I went out here and out here. 1/4, 1/4. And now we're going to connect those lines that we went out to the apex again. That's where all the fitting happens, is around the bust mound for the front. That's looking really good. Now we're going to move on to our armhole, right? Because over here is our center front. And this up here, this is our neck line. And here we just were working with our shoulder. This is our shoulder. And this is the high point shoulder, low point shoulder. Okay, now here we're into our armhole. And then we're going to get down to our side seam. So now we're in the armhole. We're going to draw one more contour line, and we're going to do this below the armhole notch. That armhole notch, this is up 3 inches. So let's go down about 1 inch. Mark a line, connect that to the apex. So from the notch, I went down 1 inch, and now I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go up 1/4 and connect my contour line. So this line here, this is 1/4, and I went up. That's looking good. Now on the side seam, and this would be if we use like a halter top, made a halter style. And here's for like if we made a corset or a bustier. And then here I'm going to take in the side seam, and I would use this if I was doing a sleeveless top. So there's all these different places you can contour. Here I'm going to go in 1/2 inch, taking away the ease. And then down here at the side seam waist, here is 0, connecting to 1/2 inch. We've gone in 1/2 inch. Now we're down here at our waist. And we're going to draw contour lines for our dirt. But first we want to connect the dirt legs to the apex. So these are the lines that we would sew, but we need to manipulate patterns with what we're doing. We're going to draw long lines down to the waist from the apex. That looks good. Now from those lines, I want you to go out 3/8 of an inch. Apex to the waist, this line out. Here I went towards the center front. Here I went towards my side seam. Out. Out. 3/8. I went out 3/8. Those lines, those little marks you made on the bust radius, connect those to the apex. Bust radius line down to waist. Now we need to do that for the other one. We went out 3/8. So from our waist to that line that's out 3/8, this is a contour line we would use to make a very fitted top up to the apex. Now we're going to rotate our way around here, and we're going to deal with the center front here at the bust. So let's square a line out from the apex to the center front. There you go. You've squared that out. Right here you're making a right angle, and you're going to go up and down 3/8 of an inch, and you're going to do that right here on the bust radius, up 3/8, down 3/8, and you may connect those lines from the apex all the way to the center front. Apex, all the way to the center front. And right here, this is 3/8 and 3/8. And this would be if we had a real deep V cut for a ballroom gown, for a corset, for a red carpet gown, for a futuristic space costume, for many things. So we have added a lot of the slash lines here for the front. We're going to go back and do one more thing there in the shoulder. And then I think we're pretty much done for the front, other than doing a little contouring. On down here you can get a little fancy. So here on the shoulder, where we've drawn that middle line, we're going to go down 1/8 of an inch in the very middle of the shoulder. And you're going to connect that back to the high point and the low point. So we went down 1/8 inch, and that was right in the middle of the shoulder. And this could be if we had a very open neckline, we want to contour here, maybe we had an open surplice, a wrap top. So this is looking very good, and we've written front contour bodice, but you can also write a little bit more information. This happens to be a size 8, which is a standard for the industry for fitting. We could get your name in there. And today's date. Ooh, it happens to be a cool date today. I forgot I'll put the whole date. It is 2/22/22. And here is our front contour bodice draft. And if you put this on hard paper, then we can make that into a block. And we can do that in a future video. Also, you can learn how to use this contour draft when you are working with my designs in my future videos. Look forward to you checking out my next video. Have a great day.